What actually happens inside your body when you stop eating? Not just overnight. What happens after 24 hours, 36 hours, 48 hours, 3 days, or even 5 days? Most people think fasting is simply about eating fewer calories and burning body fat. But that's only the beginning. As a fast continues, your entire metabolism begins changing its priorities. Insulin falls, stored fat becomes available, ketones rise, growth hormone changes dramatically, and cellular maintenance systems begin receiving a very different message. What happens over the next several days is one of the most fascinating examples of the human body's ability to adapt. For most of human history, food wasn't available 24 hours a day. There were periods of abundance, but there were also unsuccessful hunts, changing seasons, and times when food simply wasn't available. Our metabolism evolved experiencing both sides of that cycle, feeding and fasting. Today, we've largely eliminated the fasting half. We have breakfast, lunch, dinner, snacks, desserts, and caloric drinks available almost constantly. Every time nutrients arrive, the body receives a message that says, build, store, grow. When food temporarily disappears, the message begins changing. The body begins to mobilize, conserve, recycle, and adapt. That's an important distinction. Eating isn't bad, and fasting isn't automatically good. Our biology needs both. The interesting question is, what happens when we finally give the body enough time to move completely into its fasting physiology? Let's follow that journey. During the first day, the body begins making one of its most fundamental changes. It changes fuel sources. The liver gradually uses stored glycogen to help maintain blood sugar. As those stores decline, insulin falls, and your fat cells begin releasing more fatty acids. Ketones also start increasing. Think of your metabolism like a hybrid vehicle. You haven't run out of fuel. You've simply started switching fuel tanks. And this is where something called metabolic flexibility becomes important. A healthy metabolism should be able to use food when food is available and stored energy when it isn't. One of the reasons fasting can feel difficult at first is that many of us almost never ask our bodies to practice that second half of the equation. As you move toward roughly 36 hours, the transition becomes much more established. Fat burning increases and ketone production continues climbing. The brain begins using those ketones as an increasingly important source of energy. This may help explain something many experienced fasters describe. Instead of becoming progressively hungrier, hunger often comes in waves and may actually become quieter. Some people also notice surprisingly steady energy and mental clarity. Not everyone experiences that, but physiologically, the body is clearly becoming more comfortable operating without a constant supply of dietary glucose. But by this point, the story isn't just about fuel anymore. When nutrients are constantly available, cells receive signals encouraging them to grow and build. As fasting continues, those nutrient signals decline. The body's priorities begin moving toward conservation and maintenance. And that's where the story gets really interesting. At approximately 48 hours, several remarkable adaptations begin overlapping. Insulin is low, fat burning is high, ketones have increased substantially. And then there is growth hormone. Human studies have shown that fasting can dramatically increase natural growth hormone secretion. But the body isn't doing this so you can build bigger muscles without eating. Growth hormone appears to play a survival role during fasting, helping mobilize stored fat and helping protect valuable lean tissue. That's an extraordinarily intelligent adaptation. The body has stored fat for exactly this circumstance, so it increasingly uses that fuel instead of immediately sacrificing important structural tissue. 48 hours is also where another fascinating subject deserves attention: autophagy. Autophagy is one of the body's cellular recycling systems, and it's one of the reasons fasting has attracted so much interest in longevity and functional medicine research. Think of autophagy as an internal maintenance crew. Cells accumulate damaged proteins, worn cellular components, and material that is no longer functioning efficiently. Autophagy helps break some of that material down and recycle its components. We should be careful about claiming that autophagy suddenly switches on at exactly 36 or 48 hours. Human biology doesn't work that precisely. But nutrient deprivation is one of the important signals associated with these cellular maintenance pathways. The important idea isn't an exact hour on a clock. It's that fasting changes the environment inside the cell from one dominated by abundance and growth toward one that increasingly emphasizes maintenance and adaptation. By around 3 days, your body isn't transitioning into fasting anymore. It is fasting. And this is where we enter some of the most intriguing research. By 72 hours, fat is supplying much of the body's energy, and ketones have become an important fuel for the brain. But ketones are more than emergency fuel. Researchers increasingly recognize them as signaling molecules that may influence oxidative stress, inflammation, mitochondrial function, and cellular resilience. Scientists are also studying changes in immune signaling during longer fasts. And this is where stem cell research begins entering the conversation. Animal studies and some early human context research suggest that prolonged fasting followed by refeeding may influence the environment in which stem and progenitor cells operate. That does not mean a 3-day fast magically regenerates the immune system. But it is an exciting area of research, and it's one worth following. And notice something important in that research. The story isn't only about fasting. It's also about what happens when food comes back. That may be one of the most overlooked parts of the entire fasting discussion. During days 4 and 5, there may not be another magical switch waiting to flip. During days 4 and 5, there may not be another magical switch waiting to flip. Instead, the changes we've already discussed become deeply established. Insulin remains low, fat burning remains high, ketones remain elevated, growth-related signals remain reduced, while the body continues operating in a state of conservation and cellular maintenance. But the longer the fast continues, the more important the other side of the cycle becomes. Refeeding. Think about renovating a house. Before you rebuild, you might remove damaged material, clean everything up, and prepare the foundation. Cleanup isn't rebuilding. Eventually, you need building materials. When nutritious food returns after a fast, amino acids return. Insulin rises, protein synthesis resumes, and growth pathways become active again. That's why I like thinking about fasting and refeeding as two parts of the same cycle. The fast may create a maintenance signal. Healthy refeeding creates a rebuilding signal. Clean up, then rebuild. And this is also why longer isn't automatically better. Your body needs fasting signals, but it also needs nourishment. Protein matters, minerals matter, essential fats matter, vitamins matter, food matters. The goal isn't to see how many days you can go without eating. The goal is metabolic flexibility and using fasting intelligently. Nature is full of rhythms. Day and night, activity and rest, abundance and scarcity, feeding and fasting. Perhaps part of maintaining health is preserving our ability to move between those different biological states, instead of living almost permanently in only one of them. The larger lesson of fasting isn't simply weight loss. It's what fasting teaches us about the remarkable adaptability of the human body. When food temporarily disappears, your body doesn't simply shut down and wait to be rescued by the next meal. It changes fuel sources. It reorganizes hormones. It mobilizes stored energy. It changes cellular signaling. And it begins using biological programs that many of us rarely experience in a world where food is always available. Fasting doesn't give your body a new ability. It gives your body an opportunity to use abilities it already has. Now, a 24-hour fast and a 5-day fast are very different interventions. Prolonged fasting isn't appropriate for everyone, particularly with certain medical conditions, pregnancy, eating disorders, or medications. Understanding this biology gives us another example of something I believe is incredibly important. The human body has an extraordinary ability to adapt when we give it the right environment. I'm Dr. Mark Scott with Total Health Center. Thanks for watching.